Father, will McGregors ever be kings again?
All men with honor are kings. But not all kings have honor.
What is honor?
Honor is...
As far as virtues go, I've always considered honor to be almost paradoxical in its nature. For some, honor is a timeless, clearly defined idea that has transcended generations, and yet for others, it's a notion whose definition changes constantly throughout one's own lifetime. Honor is, after all, a subjective concept. Throughout history, there have been some commonalities in the aspects we associate with honor, that it typically encompasses a set of moral principles and behaviors that might be considered virtuous or commendable, but our interpretations vary drastically within our specific cultural, societal, and personal contexts. Honor's role within society can be either as a stabilizing ideal, or it can be profoundly problematic. One of the most famous examples of the immense power honor can wield within culture can be found in the story of Lucretia, a noblewoman living in ancient Rome around 509 BCE, whose rape by Sextus Tarquinius, the son of the Roman king at the time, led her to commit ritual suicide as a means to cleanse her honor. Her death would subsequently precipitate a rebellion that would lead to the downfall of the Roman monarchy and eventually lead to the establishment of the Roman Republic. Lucretia's death was seen as a symbol of the dire consequences of violating the honor of a noblewoman and the profound importance placed on female chastity and virtue. So with this brief preface, what could we say about honor as it relates to the character of Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender? Well, from the moment we are introduced to Zuko, right in the middle of the first episode of the series, we get a pretty concise outline of the two main aspects through which Zuko perceives honor here at the beginning of his journey. 1. Zuko associates honor with social status, specifically his former position as the crown prince. Because he has been banished and his rights as heir apparent revoked, he believes that he no longer has his honor and that he must regain his former position in order to reclaim it. 2. He sees honor as something that is received and can be removed by an external source, in this case, Zuko's father, Fire Lord Ozai. Zuko believes that only by fulfilling the quest that his father has tasked him with, which is to either capture or slay the Avatar, that he will not only allow him to return home, but that in doing so, his father will restore his lost honor. As Zuko progresses on his journey, he gradually comes to many realizations about the world and himself. He sees that the Fire Nation is not beloved or admired by the other nations, but rather they are universally feared and reviled, and that to restore the honor of the Fire Nation itself, he must help end the 100-Year War, which is why he decides to become friends with and the teacher of the Avatar he once hunted. So again, returning to the question at hand, how might we better understand honor through Zuko? Well, it's important to consider that much of Avatar's world draws inspiration from a vast array of Asian cultures, and specifically Chinese and Indian philosophies. Because honor is such a nebulous virtue, context is critical when discussing it, which is why I believe the teachings of early Chinese philosopher Xunzi offers a great lens through which we can analyze honor's role within the psychological obstacles Zuko faces along his journey. Xunzi lived in the tumultuous Warring States period when local rulers vied for power, granaries were all but empty, and the common folk were haplessly caught in their rulers' military and political campaigns. It's a period of Chinese history that is heavily characterized by a breakdown of social and political order, not terribly dissimilar to the world we initially find in Avatar: The Last Airbender. A number of philosophers during the age pondered how order might be restored, and Xunzi posited that societal ills such as wars, feuds, and profiteering rulers could be explained away as the result of human nature. In Xunzi's view, human nature is intrinsically evil. We carry with us desires for profit, hatred of others, and we crave sensuous pleasure. So inevitably we are drawn toward conflict. If humanity were to blindly follow our inborn tendencies, we would be, quote, sure to come to struggle and contention, turn to disrupting social divisions and order, and end up becoming violent. As such, Xunzi's perspective on how one becomes a good person is entirely unrelated to innate qualities, because we are all inherently immoral. Instead, goodness is a matter of deliberate effort. The only way to become good is by practicing being good. You cannot become good all in one motion. It requires constant repetition, doing the right thing over and over and over again, which for inherently evil creatures can be sometimes quite challenging.
God, why am I so bad at being good?
Despite the challenges though, Xunzi is optimistic that anyone is capable of this kind of self-transformation. Xunzi describes the process as being akin to how crooked wood must be steamed and straightened in a press frame as a metaphor for how people become good, so long as they have the right teachers and engage in the right practices. Fortunately for Zuko, he is blessed with one such teacher, his benevolent uncle Iroh. Iroh not only instructs Zuko in the ways of firebending, but is constantly educating his nephew on constructive ethics and attitudes, notably in some apt comparisons with his obsession with tea. Tea making, after all, requires patience and observance of ritual actions that help cultivate control over one's impulses. But back to the question of honor. Xunzi makes a distinction between two kinds of honor: righteous honor, or yi, which comes from within, and conventional honor, or shu, which comes about through your external circumstances. Xunzi argues that to be a good person is to have righteous honor, not necessarily conventional honor. As he puts it, when one's intentions and thoughts are cultivated, when one's virtues and proper conduct are substantial, and when one's understanding and deliberations are brilliant, this is a case where honor derives from within. This is called righteous honor. When one's title and rank are eminent, when one's emoluments and salary are substantial, and when one's position and circumstances overpower others, at the greatest by being a son of heaven or a feudal lord, or at least by being a counselor, prime minister, officer, or grand officer, this is a case where honor comes from outside. This is called honor in terms of one's circumstances. In the same way Xunzi makes a distinction between two different types of honor, he also does so with its antithesis, disgrace. Righteous disgrace is a state you find yourself in when you do things of your own accord that demean you, such as being greedy or arrogant or dishonest. In contrast, conventional disgrace is a state that is set upon you externally. Some examples Xunzi provides would be when you are spat upon, or mutilated, or flogged, or beheaded. These two forms of honor and disgrace coexist within us. For instance, the character of Ozai, a person who consistently acts like a piece of shit, such a person would have righteous disgrace. But in holding the position of Fire Lord, he would wield a lot of conventional honor. Contrarily, someone like Iroh, who is constantly performing acts of selfless kindness, while still being looked down upon by his countrymen for his failure to capture the Earth Kingdom city of Ba Sing Se, Iroh surely suffers from conventional disgrace, but still holds immense righteous honor. Xunzi's framework for honor was undeniably influenced by the circumstances he lived through centuries ago, but it isn't hard to conceive of how we might apply these ideas in a modern context. Many of us crave what he describes as conventional honor: accolades, prestigious positions, praise from our peers, all things that are bestowed upon us by others, but truly few seek out righteous honor, the honor that comes from within. When Zuko decides to betray his uncle and ally himself with his sister Azula to seemingly kill the Avatar, his conventional honor is restored and his father allows him to return home as a triumphant hero. And yet, Zuko continues to struggle with a sense of absence, that something is still lacking. He eventually makes the realization that the honor that he has been seeking is not conventional honor, but the righteous honor that Uncle Iroh had been teaching him all along, and that he can only gain that by doing the right thing, which in his eyes is beginning to help Aang. Though many characterize Xunzi's view of human nature as pessimistic, I've always felt that his assertions that truly anyone has the power to transform themselves into a good person was something incredibly hopeful. We all have the ability to pursue righteous honor, though it typically is not the easiest thing to do, and even in achieving righteous honor, it doesn't always translate into the receipt of conventional honor. Zuko's journey is not only a quintessential example of Xunzi's philosophy, but a reminder that the only authentic honor we can pursue is the honor that lies within us, and that it can only be achieved if we are brave enough to manifest it into the world. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. ATLA is one of my all-time favorite animated series, and as you can tell, Zuko played a big part in that, so I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it. And I just wanted to say that the comments that you guys have been rolling in lately have been incredible. They've been so thoughtful and amazing, so please keep them coming. I want to hear if you have any thoughts about Zuko or Honor, or if you'd like to suggest any subject for a future video. I'd love to hear it, so please shout out down below. If you'd like, you can go ahead and hit the like button or subscribe if you are interested in this type of content, but as always, don't forget to have a good day, have a good life, and I'll see you all on the next one.